Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get started on chapter 4 here. Um, we're going to go ahead and start this on Hebrew nouns. So far, we've been through the Aleph Bet, and we've been through the Hebrew vowels. We've learned about Dagesh Lene and Dagesh Forte, about the hardening of the sound of the Begak fat letters and the doubling of letters with the Dagesh Forte. So what we're going to do, we've learned also to go ahead and how we are to divide the syllables in the biblical on the words. How biblical Hebrew must start with a consonant and have one vowel, and that there's two types of syllables in biblical Hebrew. There is what they call open syllables that end with a vowel, and there's closed syllables that end with a consonant. And now tonight we're going to go ahead and introduce you to the Hebrew nouns. Now that we've mastered or gotten a good hold on the those early building blocks here, Hebrew nouns function just like English nouns, and they're used to indicate a person, place, thing, or idea. Uh, like the English nouns, Hebrew nouns can either be singular, or plural. But unlike English, Hebrew nouns they also have a dual number, indicating a plurality of two, like two eyes, two hands, 2 feet. Um, and also Hebrew has nouns have gender also. They're either masculine or feminine. English, most nouns are pluralized with the addition of an S or an ES. When the noun prophet is pluralized, it becomes prophets. The letter S was added to make the singular into a plural. But Hebrew nouns pluralize much in the same way, but they have different endings that are added to singular nouns in order to indicate a plural or dual forms, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes here. But they do make a distinction between the feminine endings and masculine too. And so let's go ahead and get into the plural and dual endings of masculine and feminine nouns. Right here, you'll see under the masculine noun, we have in the singular form what we call sus. It's samic, shurik, samic, sus. If we want to make a masculine noun plural, we will call it go susim. This is sus, seem, susim. Remember, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant. Susim is the plural for horses. If we're talking about two horses, we say susaim. Susaim. That means there's two horses. We're very familiar with Jerusalem. There's two Jerusalems. Shemayim, there's two bodies of heavens. So we do have the dual noun. We're not quite as familiar with that. Likewise, in the feminine nouns, and you'll notice that we're using feminine nouns with highlighted in red is the comments hey. Just like in these are endingless, masculine nouns are endingless nouns normally, and they don't have an ending to tell you what gender they are. And that tends to be the case in masculine. And so you see the Hirik Yod Mem Sufit in red right here is telling you that this is a plural masculine noun. The Patak Yod Hirik Mem Sufit or final Mem tells you that that is a dual masculine noun. Now you'll notice that both the I'm is dual for masculine and for feminine. But we'll get into the feminine here. The feminine has a comments hey. There's a couple different endings for feminine endings that tells you it's feminine, but comments hey is one of your more prevalent ones. And so the comments hey tells you that is feminine. Torah. Torah. All right. Once we convert from a feminine singular noun to a feminine plural noun, the comments hey drops out, and all you have is the root, the tav, the Holem Vav, and the Resh, and it's replaced here. The Commons Hey is replaced with a Holem Vav Tav. To wrote. To wrote. And here's the consonant, the vowel, the consonant, vowel, consonant. So we have an open syllable and a closed syllable here. To wrote. And if you want to make two laws, then we would the Commons Hey, the Hey drops out, and the Tav takes its place, and you have Torah time. Torah time. And the Tav takes its place. The Hey drops out, the Tav takes its place. And you have the same endings, the Patak, Hirik Yod, Mem Sofit, or final Mem endings here. Now we've learned also that Hebrew nouns are masculine or feminine, though a few nouns are both masculine and feminine. With regard to nouns numbers, it may be singular indicating one, or plural indicating more than one, or dual indicating two. So masculine nouns are endingless nouns, like I said, that they have no distinctive endings on them. The plural and dual masculine nouns are very distinct, and for this reason, we identify masculine plural nouns usually as Hirik Yod Mem Sufit, or final Mem, as in Susim, or Devarim. Masculine dual nouns in a Patak Yod Hirik Mem, as in Susain, or Enaim, two eyes, two horses. So those things that are in the highlight, they're fairly simple to learn. Main thing is just getting used to it. Now, in contrast to endless masculine and singular nouns, feminine singular nouns are usually marked with distinctive endings. The most common ending is Commons Hey, which we just went over, is the most frequently used ending, as in Torah. Now, there are additional endings to a feminine ending that you'll see. Nouns that end with patak tav, like bat for daughter, tiferet, with the sagol tav. The sagol tav tells you that it's feminine, glory. Or the hirik yod tav in brit, or berit, for covenant. That tells you that is a feminine ending also. And ut, like malkut, for kingdom. Ut tells you that too. So we have ut, we have eat, we have et, we have at. And whenever you see a tav at the end of the word, usually that's a pretty good indicator that that is a feminine noun right there. And so at, et, eat, and ut, as well as are feminine endings telling you that there's a feminine noun, singular noun. Now, the feminine plural nouns end in ot, the Holem Vav Tav, as in melachot, queens, melachot, queens, or torot, laws. Now, feminine dual nouns end the same way as masculine dual nouns, as a I'm patak hirik yod mem sufit, as in yadaim, two hands, or time. So they can either be yadaim, or if it has a Commons Hey ending, again the Hey drops out, and the root has the comments, and it's a comments plus time. The Hey drops out, and the Tav takes its place, as in Torah time, two laws. Torah time. Now you'll notice that the dual ending is the same for both masculine and feminine nouns, as I said before, and it's usually used for paired body parts like hands, feet, eyes, ears. Utilize the dual endings here, although Yerushalayim and Shemaim do too in there. Okay, it's important to understand that feminine nouns do not refer only to feminine things like natural gender or masculine nouns only to masculine things. For example, the Hebrew word for law is Torot, and it is feminine. This doesn't mean, however, that the law apply only to women. What the gender of Hebrew noun indicates is a pattern of inflection. It will usually follow. In other words, masculine nouns take one set of endings for pluralization, and feminine nouns take another. But of course, grammatical gender and natural gender do correspond in most Hebrew nouns. For example, the word for daughter is bat. So you have the patak tav, which is normally feminine. In Hebrew, it's feminine, and therefore grammatical and natural gender correspond. Likewise, the Hebrew word for son, bain, is masculine, so it's an endingless noun. So basically, it does take the same endings here. So when you get into the summary of noun endings, we see that um, masculine singular usually doesn't have an ending on it to show you that it's masculine, whereas feminine does. Feminine singular has either kametz he, or patak tav, or segol tav, hirik yod tav, or a shurik tav. Ut and eat and et and at and ah. Now, in the masculine plural, we have the hirik yod mem, final mem. That is what tells you that that is a masculine plural ending. Um, and so that's what that is. And the feminine, the whole and vav tav, tells you that it is a feminine plural ending, like in torot for laws. Again, the I'm is both dual for masculine and feminine. If there is like the I'm is for those endless nouns that are feminine, and a time are for those nouns that is part of a like Torah, the kametz he type of noun, feminine noun, and where the hey drops off and the tav takes its place. And I'm, then we just add I'm. So those are the endings for both masculine singular. You have the feminine singular has endings, the masculine doesn't. Masculine plural endings, the masculine plural dual nouns, and the feminine singular and dual. So just remember that the tav at the end on feminine is very important. You'll learn that to be the case in some other lessons in the future. Okay, so let's go through the list of here. We got sus as masculine and singular. We have susim, which is masculine plural. We have malka, feminine singular, and melachot, which is feminine plural. And so there is basically, you see the ot and the ah for the feminine singular, ah for feminine singular, and ot for feminine plural. And then we have what they call it's both masculine and feminine. Have the dual nouns yomaim, 2 days on there. So it's just we have yomaim for that, the dual nouns too. So let's go to the melech. And this is we'll get into seglet nouns a little bit later on in our next session. But remember I said that Hebrew words, normally their accents on the final syllable. Well, there are a group of nouns in the Hebrew that have their accent on the first syllable. And we'll go into that in a little while. The plural masculine, again, you got your im here. Here, yod, mem, sufi. That tells you that it's masculine plural. Hebrew's all about recognition, about looking for signs. Melachim is the plural noun of kings. Feminine singular, the conversation is Torah and Torot for plural. Whole and vav tav for plural. Kametz he for the singular feminine. Torataim. The hay drops out, the tav takes its place, and adds the patak, yod, hirik, mem suffix or final mem. Toratime. We have davar here. Devarim, masculine again, that Hierarchia mem suffix. And in the feminine, you have choma. Okay, and with the comments, hey, that's telling you that it's feminine. Hol and vav tav is telling you chomot is telling you that that's feminine plural. Again, you got raglaim, which is 2 feet here. Raglaim. You got your dual endings here. And then we have another segment now, Yeled, which is child. And then it goes into plural. It's Yeladim for men, masculine plural. If it was feminine, it'd be different. It'd be Yeled and it'd be Yaldot. If it was feminine, plural. Yalda and then Yaldot. And then we have the feminine singular here for daughter, Bat, and then Banot, which is a change here. It's kind of radical change in the consonants here. We'll go into those in a little bit. Yadayim for hands, 2 hands, and then day, masculine day, Yom, Yom, and then Yamim. And so that's what you have here. The Hirik Yod Mem Suffix, what you're looking for here in the masculine plural. If it's feminine plural, you'll look for the Hol and Vav Tav for plural nouns right there. And then we have Keshet, which is no second noun, and then of course the feminine plural ending of Keshet. Now Keshet also feminine have some endingless endings too. So it's just a matter of getting used to knowing what those nouns are and what genders they are, basically, in some of them. Keshatot is Hol and Vav Tav. This right here is telling you that it's feminine plural. And we'll learn too when you get into adjectives, those adjectives like, righteous or whatever, that the adjective will actually tell the true gender of that noun. And when we get in adjectives, I'll show you that. Okay, we have a 9, which is eyes, 2 eyes right here. So basically what you want to memorize is the dual lettering here of I'm. Oat for feminine plural. Comments hey for feminine singular, or the eat, the et, the oot, or the at, the patak tav, can be feminine singular also. So just go over those paradigms and just keep going over them. You'll learn as you go through the homework too, and continual use will tell you basically, you'll familiarize yourself with that. Now, when you're looking in your Hebrew dictionary for the nouns, when in doubt with regard to the word's meaning or form, you'll have to look it up in what's called a Hebrew lexicon. And hopefully by now, you may have purchased your Brown Driver and Briggs lexicon. If not, go up to Amazon.com. You can. I'll try to have a link on the website where you can click to it and take you right to the best BDB Brown Driver Briggs lexicon. They got a couple different ones they have. The lexical form for any noun is the singular form. So whenever you're looking in the lexicon, you want to look for the singular form, whether it's masculine or whether it's feminine. For example, if you were to search for a definition of susim or susaim, you would have to look under sus. You'd have to look under sus. That's where the lexical form is going to be. The masculine singular form. Otherwise, likewise, if you're to search for the feminine plural of Torot, you would find it listed in a singular or lexical form of Torah. And almost every instance, the lexical form of a noun will be the form you have memorized as vocabulary. All right. Now, there are some, again, I alluded to this just a few minutes ago. There are some exceptions to his rules. There are endingless feminine nouns, too, just like there are endingless masculine nouns. There are some endingless feminine nouns. And so, just there's some examples here. For example, feminine singular nouns are endingless. Eretz is feminine. But yet it does not have a Comet's Hay or a Segol Hay or Hirkyo or a Segol Tav or a Hirkyo Tav or Patak Tav on here. It is ending. It has no ending on it. Ears, same way, has no ending on it. Evan has no ending. So there are endingless feminine nouns. You'll become familiar with it as you go through vocabulary um, in here. So um, let me see. Just because the gender doesn't affect the meaning of it, it only affects the pattern of making it plural. Whether a noun like yod is masculine or feminine, pluralized with hirik, yod, mem, or ot. Hirik, yod, mem, that makes it masculine, or ot is feminine. So that doesn't make any difference to its meaning right there. It's just pertaining to gender. Now, there are some exceptions in normal pluralization of nouns. Remember, we had studied about the im, hirik, yod, mem, sufit, or final mem is masculine plural, and ot as feminine plural. Well, there's some exceptions to this, and we've learned that the word av for father is one of those exceptions here. Normally, you would think it would be avim, but actually, it is avot, masculine with a feminine plural ending. But don't let this cause you any confusion. You'll know it by the nouns. If you know that the Hebrew word for father is av and that ot is a plural ending, then avot must mean fathers. So similarly, even though shana for year is a feminine noun, it is commonly pluralized as shanim with the masculine plural ending. So all of such irregularities that we note in the vocabulary sections, it will be noted in the vocabulary sections through the grammar. So that's going to let you know what the gender is in there. Again, when we get to adjectives, you'll be able to know what the true gender is of that noun if it's any doubt. Now, again, there's some special dual nouns that I went into briefly, like body parts, yadayim, two hands. There are three special Hebrew words, however, that are always dual in form. That's Shemaim, which is heaven or heavens, Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, and Mayim, which is water. These three nouns occur frequently and should be memorized. And I would dare say that Yerushalayim also is another one that's always found in its plural dual form. Now we do have what we call irregular stem change, where these are nouns that just kind of you're just going to have to memorize them. They don't make any sense on why they changed. And a lot of it's because of the frequency of use of them. It's the reason why throughout the language. Some Hebrew names will alter their actual consonant stem when they add their plural endings. The stem of a noun refers to the original combination of consonants that make up a particular word. This type of irregularity is the most difficult to identify, and I agree with that. The plural of man, ish, man is singular, ish is man singular, is anashim for men. And the plural for isha, woman, is nashim. So the only really difference between man and woman is the aleph. Men have the aleph and women don't have the aleph. So basically, that's the only difference right there for Ish and Isha. And so you have the Anashim for men and the Nashim for women here. There are not many Hebrew words that undergo this type of change, and all such irregularities will be identified in the vocabulary section. So I really wouldn't lose any sleep over this. Just know that there are some what they call irregular stem changes from singular to plural on nouns. There are not many, but there are some. And you'll learn them as you go through the vocabulary. Now, also in number 5, we have what they call is defective spelling of oat. Occasionally, a feminine plural ending oat will be spelled with just with a holum and a tav instead of a holum vav tav. It's a holum tav, and we went over that briefly when we went over when we went over vowels. And sometimes you'll see that happen with a holum rather than holum vav. For example, the Hebrew word for congregation is adah. The ending clearly indicates that this is a feminine noun. Normally, we would expect to see adot in the plural. Sometimes, however, the feminine plural forms appear as adot with just a holum and not with the holum vav. Now, this shorter spelling is called what we call defective spelling or defective writing. The longer or full form is called plan A. I mentioned that back a couple of chapters ago in there, but plan A, it just means full. It's fully written out, nothing left out. Defective spelling is that spelling which does not use the vowel letters um, in their completion or in their complete form. It's just minor. It doesn't change. It has the same type of vowel and pronunciated exactly the same. So there's no big difference. Just note that there is defective and there is full writings of those. So it's kind of like what we do when we try to abbreviate things ourselves. We contract. Instead of Timmy, we say Tim. It's just we tend to leave things out sometimes, and there was that fuller and defective writing that was you'll see happen from time to time when you read scriptures in the Hebrew. Okay. Well, I think let's go ahead and finish with this one here. And next week, next session, we'll get on number of basic patterns of noun pluralizations, showing how we make plurals and the vowel reductions in there too. And so until next session, we'll see you then. All right.